All right, good evening, Michaela. Let's start the class. All right, we have to start a new unit that is going to be Unit 3. And today we have to practically do something. Let me verify. Yes, okay. Today we have to take cover of 2 lessons and we have 2 more. Let me verify that one. All right, because we have 1 more week. Just in case, Michaela, they already told me that we moved the next week. All right, good evening,
So it
Michaela.
means that
Let's start the class. My audio was there. Okay, just in case they told me that we moved the next week and it's going to be then the 30th and the first 2 days of, well, actually the 1st and the 3rd of February. Michael, all right? So next week we're not going to have classes, all right?
yes, yes, teacher. Thank you so much for your time.
Okay, no, you're very welcome. So yes, I'm thinking, I thought we were on Monday. I don't know why I thought it was Monday. Then we're good, okay? We have this 3rd week. Well, actually, it's not a week this case. It's 3rd unit that is going to be today. And then the following Monday, right? Monday the 30th. And we have the last 2 lessons, then the February the 1st and February the 3rd. And also on February the 3rd, you're going to present your final oral presentation. And remember that the main difference is that you have 15 minutes this time. Okay, you have to use 15 minutes. And
Mhm.
also you have a specific structure, right? You have an introduction with 3 steps. You have the body with 3 steps and the conclusion as well with 3 main steps. But that's it. I don't know if you have any questions about that final presentation, because as we're not going to see each other this week, so that we can work on that, slowly and at your pace, Michaela. Do you have any questions about the final presentation?
About the final presentation, no, but I just want to consult. The second week activities should be until yesterday, right?
Yes, they should have been until yesterday. That's correct.
Okay.
Were you able to work on them or not yet?
Not yet. Sorry. I am overworking right now because of the event for the next week, and I forgot. Sorry, so sorry, teacher.
Don't worry, don't worry. Actually, look, I want you to have more time because yesterday, as you had problems also, you were supposed to at least record those assignments right in class, but you couldn't do it because of your connection problems, all right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to give you extra time. Again, if you have the time, try to do it, but I'm going to give you until this Sunday. It's going to be marked as late, okay, but it doesn't matter. If you have the time until Sunday, try to upload it, okay? You have to record at least just 2 more recordings for the assignments that we work in class. And once again, the 9 new words, right? Again, if you have the time, you have until this Sunday. If not, again, perhaps it's not going to affect that much, but try to do it if you can, Michaela.
Okay, thank you so much, teacher.
All right, no, you're welcome. So let's begin then. All right, let's start with this lesson. And this is very interesting because we're going to learn about the organization of the TOEFL. But I want to know if you know something. Do you know about the TOEFL in terms of how it is organized, Michaela?
I already took like a simulator for TOEFL, but just reading and reading.
Okay, so not yet speaking, the speaking part not yet.
Not yet. Yeah.
Okay, good. So this is going to be good for you because this is one of the, let's say, tasks, okay? Because you have not just one, you have more tasks, but this is one of the tasks. And it's not just one time, right? You are going to make this in a repeated way. You're going to answer to many questions. But this is one of those tasks, and it's important, very important to practice this with a timer, right? You have
Okay.
only 45 seconds to give an answer to a question, to pick one of the options, and to support your response, right? Your answer. It seems easy, and it's not hard, it is easy, but the hardest part about this is controlling the time and saying that and those reasons in an organized way. And that's what we're going to be learning today. Okay, but before I teach you, or at least I show you one strategy, because this is only one, you have many strategies. And even perhaps the teacher or the professor in charge of the preparation course is going to teach you another strategy. Okay, but it's good that you have at least 2 or 3 so that you pick the best one for you. All right, so this is one of those. But before going to the presentation itself, I want to do something. And you're going to do this just like here. You're going to speak here with me. All right. This is a web page. Perhaps you know these web pages. You have a lot of them, and they give you a lot of possible, well, questions. Like, they are not the questions you're going to have at the TOEFL, but they are the type of questions that you have, right? For example, the first one that is very simple, that's what we're going to do now. It says, do you prefer to study at home or in a library? Right? Provide specific details to support your explanation. So that's it. Okay, and it's very simple because here you don't need like a lot of vocabulary. You don't need to explain this in a very detailed or complex way. This is a very simple one. Okay, but again, in the TOEFL, you're going to find very simples as this one and others that are very complex, and perhaps you don't know the words and the vocabulary for that field. So you need to look for ways to explain something, right? But let's start with this. I want to see how you do it, all right?
Okay.
First, I'm going to give you now, all right? You don't have to do it very well now. Just do your best. I'm going to give you 1 minute. Okay, usually you don't have 1 minute. Usually you have seconds, all right? But I'm going to give you 1 minute to try to write some ideas. Okay, it's important that you have a piece of paper with you. Here you can use your computer, but sometimes taking the TOEFL, it's good that you have a piece of paper so that you read this and you can write some ideas. Okay, my recommendation, try to write the reason, sorry, the option that you choose, and try to write some ideas to support that reason. Okay, try to do it in that way. So this is the question, all right? Do you prefer to study at home or in a library? Provide specific details to support your explanation. So one more time, I'm going to give you 1 minute now. You don't have to say anything. Just, all right, quiet. Try to write ideas that you're going to say after this minute. Okay, let's have this time, please.
Okay.
Okay, so the 1 minute is done, and there, now I'm going to read the question for you one more time. It says, do you prefer to study at home or in a library? Provide specific details to support your explanation, right? Now,
Okay.
I'm going to give you, let me put this here very big, and here, okay, that one, good. Now, here you have the question, right? And the timer. You have to pay attention to the timer. Okay, you always have to pay attention to the timer. You only have 45 seconds. Okay, only 45 seconds.
Okay.
And remember, in the TOEFL, it's 45 and it stops recording. You don't have the chance of record more, right? It's 45 and then you don't record anymore. So be sure that you get at least to the second 42, 43, and try to finish there. Okay, if you can give a short conclusion like, and that's it, it's good. All right, try to say something at the end, like to see that you are not just finishing in the second 45 and you were interrupted. Okay, try to say something at the end so that the examiner can notice that you were organizing your ideas. All right, so
Okay.
let's try to do it. This is the first attempt. We're going to practice a lot today, and well, the following Monday, it's going to be for practicing this task. Let's begin, please. I want to know if you're ready. You don't need to record anything yet. You're just going to speak here for me.
Okay, I'm ready, teacher.
Good. Let's do it, please. Let's begin now.
Okay, I prefer to study in a library because I can concentrate more. There are a few distractions here. Oh, well, in this place. It's like forcing myself to focus in a topic, and in my house, my family or my puppies could distract me. That's it.
Good. Thank you very much. So again, it's the first attempt. Is good. 30 seconds. And again, here you have to try to do your best to get to the second 45. Okay, it's very important that you can try to use all that time. But again, it's the first one, and I believe it's great. Okay, we're going to learn the rules little by little. I just want to see how you're going to do it. This one is great. You mainly gave one reason. Okay, and I'm going to explain how they are going to evaluate that. At least you have to give two very good reasons. And again, I didn't tell you that. I'm telling you this now because I wanted to see how you do it, and I believe it's great. So I'm just telling you that you need one more reason. Okay, that's why you
Okay.
have a lot of more time. The main
Okay.
reason that you gave was distraction, right? And
Yes.
it's great. You can get distracted, and you first talked about the library and then an example about your house. That is great. All right. So I'm not going to tell you anything else, just this now. So I'm going to restart the timer. Let's do it one more time. And this time, try to give two reasons or two benefits to support your idea. Okay. And do your best to try to get close to the second 45. Okay. Again, it's advisable to finish at second 43, 44, perhaps that's the top, because second 45, it's like you are too close to, right, to when it stops recording. So one more time, please. Let's start once again and try to add one more reason. Are you ready?
Okay. Okay.
Good. Let's do it, please.
Okay. So I prefer to study in a library because it's easier to get information that is difficult to get, for example, in internet. There are some documents that is the library is like an archive. Um, and it's easier for a students to get that information. And as I previously mentioned, it's a way to forcing myself to focus in the topic.
Good.
That's it.
Until that, right? Good. Okay, you use a little bit more again because of the internet connection, right? And you know that sometimes I can hear some things and you're finishing, but I believe you got almost to 44, and I just clicked afterwards, right? So you're good. With time, you're good. And again, you have now one more reason. I believe it's a good reason. Again, any reason is valid here. Okay, you don't even have to say something that is true, right? Remember, again, if you're going to be taking the TOEFL, you're going to perhaps, this is very likely, to find a question that about a topic that you don't know anything about. Okay, it's very likely, even you can study, all right, but what you can do about that is try to focus on something or very general aspects. Okay, and that's what we're going to practice here. Here you need to defend your option, and you're going to see that the options are always defended in terms of money, in terms of time, in terms of the environment, right? In terms of being friendly, in terms of well, those four, I think, the things that you always mention. All right, money, time, the environment, and sometimes being friendly or to have a good relationship with people, because as you're going to see later on, everything can be like supported by those four main things, and of course you have many more things that you can get from those four main ideas. But what I'm trying to tell you here is that you have to be ready to defend very well what you have chosen, even though you're not going to say something that is true. For example, if you are asked about education, imagine that they are asking a question about the brain and about education, and let's say that you don't know about that, all right? But what you can do again is choose one and try to say at least something logical about it. Like, I prefer this type of education because I read about an article that says that this is more, I don't know, right? That it has better results with students and that it's more effective than the other methods. All right. And again, let's imagine that you don't know anything about the methods they were talking about, education and the brain, but you said that you read something on the article, that the article says that it's more effective than the other one or effective than the other ones, and the students learn more with it. All right. And again, you didn't have to mention the real options. You were just going around, but telling something that is logical and giving examples, even though they are not true. All right. And that's what you're going to need to do when you face something that perhaps, or it's difficult to explain, or it's a topic that is not very related to what you do or what you know. All right, again, it can happen. Now, let's try to do that here. Now, I'm going to show you the structure, all right, what you're going to be following now. And you're going to answer this one more time, but you're going to add something that I'm going to show you here, because it's very important to try to give examples. All right, that's why I'm telling you, you don't have to tell things that are true, but they have to be logical and they have to support the idea that you're giving. Let's read, please, so that you understand better what I'm trying to say there. Over here, the first part of your answer has to be from 1 to 10 seconds, and you have two options. All right, and they are not very well divided, but this is the first option that you have, and this is the second option. So let's read those two, please.
Okay, introduce your ideas in this way. First sentence, what's your decision? Second sentence, tell one benefit of that option. Third sentence, tell another benefit of that option. First sentence, what's your decision? Second sentence, because of the following reasons due to the following motives.
Now, this is very important, all right? Again, this is going to give the sense, and it's going to create a perception of being organized, all right? And you're going to be organized if you say like this. So, for example, right, you're talking about studying in a library or at home, right? So the first option is that you can say, I prefer to study at a library or in a library because it's quieter or more quiet, you can say. And the other option that you were saying, yes, and it has more material. Okay, and that's it. That's going to be your introduction, and you should say that in at least 10 seconds. If you can do that in less than 10 seconds, it's perfect. Okay, so one more time. You can say, I prefer to study in a library because it's quieter or I don't have any distractions and it has more material, period. Okay, let's see how much it takes. All right, I'm going to show you. Okay, so I'm going to say it. I prefer to study at a library because it's quieter and it has more material. Okay, 5 seconds going to 6 seconds. All right, you should spend your introduction in just that. Again, 10 is like the maximum, but it's not advisable to go to the second 10 or even more. Okay, it's not advisable because you're not going to have time. And the second option is even shorter. In the second option, you just say, I prefer to study in a library because of the following reasons, or due to the following motives. And that's it. You stop there. And that's going to take it, again, less than 5 seconds. Okay, so you have here 10 seconds because that's the maximum that you can use. Imagine that you made a mistake, you're correcting yourself, you forgot the word. Okay, so just in those situations, you should use 10 seconds or more. But if you can use less, okay, better. Okay, so that's introduction. You have those two options. You can be very precise, and you're going to mention the two benefits or reasons you want to develop afterwards, or you can just say because of those reasons or because of the following motives, then that's the same. Okay, that's the first part. In the second part, you're going to start with the first reason or the first benefit. Let's read this, please, Miguel.
Okay, describe the first benefit. First, restate the benefit. Second, give a reason. Third, give an example to illustrate or a fact to support your idea.
Great, thank you very much. Now this is important, all right? Restate the benefits, give a reason, and give an example. Actually, you have to choose, okay? Sometimes you're just going to give a reason, but it's very advisable to give an example. All right, as you were doing, it's great. But again, to be organized, then it's going to be like this. Let's remember, you said, I prefer to study in a library or at a library because it's quieter and it has more material. Then you say, first, right? And you go back to your benefit. That's something you can do, all right? First, I believe that it's better because I don't get any distractions, okay? So you are restating your first reason, okay? That's what you have to do at the beginning. I don't get many distractions. Then you can give an example or reason. Here in my case, I can give an example, all right? I can say, I remember once I had, and the example can be positive or negative, all right? You're going to see. Negative can be in this sense. Once I had a very important test and I stayed home to study for that test, but I didn't know that my family, my relatives were going to come for a party and the music was very loud and they were coming to my room every time. It was impossible for me to study and the results were very bad. Okay, so again, I made that up. That's not true, but I'm giving an example for why studying at home is not a good option for me. Okay, so that's something that you have to do in 15 seconds. All right, let's see if it's going to be possible. And I'm going to give you, or I'm giving you this step by step because you have to do the same. All right, so let's see if we have 15 minutes, or sorry, seconds. It can be more, it can be less, but we have to try to follow at least for some seconds to this parameter. So first, I believe that studying at home can give you a lot of distractions. I remember that once I had a very important test and I studied at home, but I didn't know they would have a party over there. So the noise was very, very loud and my relatives were coming to my room every time. All right, so good, over there. Again, I made mistakes. I was, confusing some of the words because I wanted to finish this at the second 15. But as I told you, sometimes it's not possible. But the closer that you can get to number 15, to the second 15, the better. Okay, and the good thing is that we are compensating because remember that here you have the exact seconds for 45 seconds. We take this into account until second 10, this until second 25, this one until 39, and this until 45. Okay, so it means that if you use less than 10 seconds here, I used 5 seconds, I have 5 extra seconds for these other parts, right? So here I can use actually even up to 20 seconds if I want because of the time that I use at the beginning. All right, but again, this perhaps can create I don't know, confusion, but the idea is that try to use the time that you have here and you're going to be sure that you're going to be balanced in terms of your introduction, your first good reason, your second good reason, and a very short conclusion at the end, right? 2 more things, and then you're going to try to do yourself. The third step is exactly the same as the previous one. You have from second 25th to second 39th, and you have to give the second benefit, and you have to give an example or a justification. All right, so once again, you can restate. Secondly, right, I believe that we have access to a lot of material here, and it's more organized and it's more reliable, right? You can say that. And you choose there if you want to give, again, one fact, it means a reason or a fact, or just an example. In this case, let's try to give a fact, all right? And I'm going to continue. So let's try to see how much time it's going to take with a very short fact. So secondly, I believe that we have access to a lot more material than when we are at home, and it's more reliable. I read once in an article that people that get the information from other places that are not libraries usually get information that is not true or updated. Okay, and that's it. Again, I used more time. It means that I have to be careful with the conclusion. But one thing about the conclusion is that what I'm going to show you there first is optional. It's enough if you finish by saying something very short. But if you have the 5 seconds over there, you can say what I'm going to show you afterwards. All right. But again, I used more time, so I need to try to balance that. And how do I balance that? Here. If I see that I'm in the second 42 or 43, then I'm not going to say this. I'm not going to say, that's why I believe that studying in the library is a good option. Okay, that's a good conclusion that you can say to show the examiner that you were organized. But if you feel, as I did in this case, that you used more time, then don't give that conclusion, and you simply finish again by saying, and I believe that's it, or that's it, and period. All right. But if you have 5 seconds at least, try to say this. That's why, or because of all those reasons, or due to all that information, I believe that, and you repeat your option one more time. Okay, but one more time, this conclusion is going to be optional only if you have enough time to do it. And that should be it. All right. Again, this seems at the beginning it's kind of hard to get at first, but it's practicing. And once you practice, believe me, it's going to be way better doing this than going to the tests without having any strategies, without having any steps, and you can get lost at any moment. Okay. But if you memorize these small, like, templates that you have, right? Your reason plus the two options, or just your reason and saying because of the following reasons, then you say first, or to commence, the first reason, and then one example or fact, then secondly, or afterwards, the second reason, but plus examples. And finally, if you have the time, a very short conclusion. Again, if you do that, it's just going to be adding words to that template and organizing your ideas in that way. All right, so I want to know first if you have questions about this way of organizing the time, Michaela, so that we can start practicing with this specific structure.
When I am taking the TOEFL, I will have the 1 minute to prepare me.
You have less time. It's just some seconds. They changed that. I believe it was from 15 to 20 seconds that you have to prepare. Okay, it's very short. It's very short, 15 to 20 seconds. It means that in those 15, 20 seconds, Michaela, what you have to write is the reason, the two supporting ideas, the two, the option, the two reasons or benefits, okay, just the words, and an idea of the example that you can tell. Okay, for example, in your case, you should write this. I'm just going to say it, but imagine that you're writing in that case. Imagine that you have 15 seconds, so you should write library, well, distractions, then you write more material, all right? Then you talk about family reunion and a article about time, all right? And then that's it. That's what you have to do. You have to write just the option, the two reasons or benefits, plus, if you have the time, just a word or two words about the example that you want to give. All right, because that's going to be important, because you're going to have something to help you organize that. If you don't write anything, it's very likely again that you're going to get lost, that because you're nervous, you are going to be unsure if you set that benefit or you started with the other one. Okay, many things can happen as you are giving the example, all right? But you have usually from 15 to 20 seconds to write the basic things you have to write about it. And then immediately you have 45 seconds, just 45 seconds to give that answer and justify in the way I showed you now. All right, okay. So that's the structure. And again, at the beginning, it feels like it's a lot of pressure, but once you are going to get used to the time, the timer, and data strategy, it's going to be easier. Okay, so let's try to do it. Let's try the first approach. Again, it doesn't matter how much it takes for you. I'm going to give you one more time. All right. So this is going to be little by little. One more time, you have 1 minute, and one more time, it's the same question. Okay. This question one more time. In this minute that I'm going to give you, try to write once again your option, the 2 reasons that you're going to develop, and at least one very good reason, or sorry, one very good example or 2 short examples about those reasons. All right. And you don't have to write everything. Just write very, very important words, keywords. The main word, for example, of the reason, the main word of the 2, sorry, of the option, the main words in the 2 reasons, and a couple of words for the examples. That should be enough. Okay, so let's do it, please. 1 minute for you to write something, and then in 45 seconds, you try to give me your idea. All right, so we are there, 1 minute. Now, again, you're going to have 45 seconds. And let me see if I have the template for the talk. I believe this is the one. Okay, so this is something, again, that you can do for practicing in Canada. For example, I did this, and this is the template, right? The first seconds are, I prefer to study at home, or I would choose studying at home, and then you say, because of the following reasons, due to the following motives. Or you can say, because of this and also that, right? That's the introduction. Then the next part is from the second 11 to the 25th. You say, first of all, firstly, to commence, it's important, right? And you give the idea, or you don't need to say, right, it's important, but that's a way of starting. And then to give your examples, you can say, for example, for instance, to illustrate this, and you give that example. Then from second 26, of course, this is again not like that second, and that's just a parameter. But you say, secondly, second, besides, also, to give the second idea. It is also a good idea, or it's also vital to, and you say what, right? To take into account that studying at home can have, or could, right, include a lot of distractions and so on. Then again, if you can, it's advisable that you have 2 short examples, or 1 example per reason that you give. You say, right, once again, if you here you said, for instance, here try to say, for example, or to illustrate this, right? It's a good idea not to repeat the same words. And then again, if you have the time, only if you have the time, all right, again, I'm going to write this here. This is optional. If you have the time, give that conclusion. All right, due to all those reasons, I believe that studying at home is the best option. And if you don't have the reasons, you finish and you say, that's it, and period. All right. And again, it's not necessary. Some people, I believe, and they say it's not necessary to say anything at the end. You just finish and stay quiet. If you also believe that's a good option, do it yourself. All right, because again, you have many ways to approach this. This is not a rule. These are just ways that people teach when you get a high score in the top. But I don't know if you have questions before starting now with the attempt in Canada.
I need to record this time.
This one, yes, let's record this one actually. Yes, as we're following the, yes, you actually told me it's something we have to record. Then you don't have to speak here, right? You turn off your microphone, But again, be sure that you're going to have 45 seconds, okay? Pay attention actually more than to the timer that you have here, to the timer that you see on your cell phone or your computer. The top is 45 seconds, okay? It cannot be more than 45 seconds. I'm going to give you just one more time this, all right? This is the template and the timer once again. So let's do it. Are you ready for recording this one?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, let's do it then, please. I turn off my microphone. Let's record, please, 45 seconds. And you have to upload this to the third unit, okay? Third unit in class activities. Let's do it. Okay, finish, upload it, and tell me, please.
Okay, teacher, I already upload my file.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's check if it is there and we can go to the next part. One more time, I'm going to give you 1 minute for the next one. But after that, we're going to start reducing the time to 30 seconds and then to 15 seconds. But let's see this one, and I'm going to, why do I have that one? Okay, and I'm going to first listen to this to give you some feedback before going to the next question. It should be here. Okay, let me check. There you go. Yes. So let's listen to this, please. And we are going to, again, I'm going to give you, in this case, a very general feedback.
Okay, I prefer to study in a library. First, because the library.
Good. So you decided to work with the first introduction, sorry, the second, and it's good, right? So I prefer to study in a library, and that's it. Again, also the second part, it's not obligatory, but if you want to have the idea of being organized, you can add, remember, because of the following reasons, or due to the following motives, something like that, just to give the sense of introduction, and then you can say first. But perhaps you are still giving the introduction. If that's the case, let me know.
Is near to the university, and also because there are more students in that place.
Okay, so you're giving the two options actually, right? It is not
Yes.
bad, but in this case, you used more than 10 seconds, right? Always try to give that first part without a lot of words, because the words first and other words, it's better if you use them after the introduction, right? Because here you have 16 seconds, and that's going to reduce the time that you need for the examples, right? And as you can realize, because I was giving the examples, I used more time. Okay, so usually it's advisable to use less time in the introduction. So one more time, if you want to mention the two, try to say, I prefer this because of this and that. Okay, just try to say that. In that way, when you say first, it's going to be less than 10 seconds or at least close to 10 seconds. Okay, just that's the first one. Again, it's a very short and small observation.
I really like to study when the information of the lesson is recent in my mind because it's more easy to
Good, then that's good. You're talking about one of the benefits, right? The information being recent, or you can say updated, right? The information is updated, very recent. And remember, instead of more easy in that case, you're going to say easier, right? And it's easier.
replace information. Also, there are more students who can support me or clarify some topics that maybe I could understand.
All right, good. Again, you were using 1 extra second, but I believe we are good. Now, I want to be sure about something. I'm going to listen to the main reasons once again at the beginning.
It's near to the university.
Right? So actually, if you realize, your first reason is that it's near to the university, right? But when you developed your ideas, I believe that you didn't mention the idea of being near, right? Let me listen to the other one.
And also because there are more students
And that one, okay?
in that place.
And that one, I believe you did, right? So the first one, let me verify this one, right? So the first reason for you was the distance, right? But actually the examples or the explanation in the first part after the introduction was about how recent those or that information is, right? Is that correct? Let me know, please.
Well, my idea was that because the library is near to the university, I can recheck the lesson um, immediately.
All right. Okay. Then perhaps, yes, perhaps you, let me go to that part once again. Then perhaps in the second part, you couldn't express that very well. All right. Because I understood that it was recent in the sense of updated. Okay. But let me listen to that one more time.
I really
Let me refresh. I don't know why it happens. But if that's the case, all right, I'm going to listen to that one. It is going to be good, but perhaps we're going to try to restate those ideas with different words, okay? Just with different words.
in that place. I really like to study when the information of the lesson is recent in my mind because it's more easy.
Okay, yes. So instead of that one, because again, to talk about something recent is more than something that happened just recently, right? You can use that adverb. It feels again something updated and something recent in your mind. Again, it can be misunderstood, or at least it's not going to be as natural. So it's better if you say over there, I like to study immediately after, all right, I covered a lesson or I learned, right, something in my classes. Okay, so that word of immediately after or just afterwards, that is going to give the idea of something happening, all right, very close in terms of time. All right, so that's going to be better instead of this idea of something recent in your mind that can refer to something a little bit different sometimes. All right, but as you're explaining that, I get the idea. Just I think the expression has to change, but it can work.
Easy to replace information.
And there again, you're giving that one. And again, let me read the second part, but I don't believe we have a clear example.
Also, there are more students who can support me or clarify some topics that maybe I could understand.
Okay, great. And again, I think it's good. My main observations are right. I think in general, once again, the introduction can be shorter if you get to the 10 second or maximum again, perhaps 11, 12 is going to be good. Then the explanation for the first reason can be done in a different way. to have that even in a clearer way. All right. And both are good reasons, very good reasons, but you have to try to add at least one example because you're explaining why, right? That's the reason you're explaining why, but you are not giving like a direct reason. And again, when I was also learning this, and I believe one of the people that is going to teach you this one as well is going to be that professor. He told me that this should be done in this way, that they give more score or value to this type of answers when they feel that your answer is more personal. It means when you say something like, for example, right, I when I studied by myself, right, I couldn't understand many things and I got a bad score. But when I did it with my friends in a library, I got a better score. Okay, and you can try to say that shorter, but it feels like more personal and it gives value to the idea and it also helps exemplifying that even better. All right. So again, then my recommendations in general, shorter introduction, try to restate the words so that it don't like produce or they don't produce, sorry, a misinterpretation, and to try to add at least one example that feels very personal about something that you remember about you. Or also you can try to mention a fact by mentioning something that you read in an article, but they usually prefer, as they told me, to listen to a personal examples and something close to you. All right, but that's it. I don't know if you have any questions about that one, so that you can take all that information to go to the next question, Miguel. Let me know, please.
Oh, no, teacher. Thank you.
Okay, good. So let's go then to the next part. And you're going to have one more time 1 minute, but it's going to be directly. All right, you have the 1 minute, you prepare everything you have to prepare, and after that you have 45 seconds, you record it and you upload it again. All right, now the second question is going to be this one, number 6. It says, do you prefer to work from home using a computer or to go to your job location? Provide specific details to support your explanation. All right, so that is the question. Actually, let me have it there highlighted. And we are going to have 1 minute to organize your ideas and then 45 seconds to record. Okay, so let's have this 1 minute, Michaela. Let's write your ideas about this question.
Sorry, teacher. I have a really bad connection, but I am going to start with example.
Okay, yes, you had the 1 minute. So now you have 45 seconds and record that one, please. Let's record that in 45 seconds.
Sorry, teacher, can you see my file?
Okay, let me check. Let me check here, please. Here. Yes, it's over here. That's great. So let's listen please to this one more time. Michaela, can you hear me well now? Let me know, please.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, so one more time, let me give you some feedback, and we're going to, I think today we're going to finish with this. It means we're going to have some time to practice, all right? But the next class, that is going to be Monday, well, the following one, this is going to be just a TOEFL practice, all right? So we're going to be practicing this a lot, because that's the only way in which we're going to get to integrate these ideas. And we're going to go from simple topics to complex ones to see how we can deal with that. All right, but let's listen to this and let's listen how it happens.
I prefer to work in my job location because of the connection of the internet and also because of the distractions that are in my house. Um, um,
Very good. It was shorter. It was better until second 13, I believe, or 12. It was almost there, right? Very good. And again, it's just practice. Then little by little, you're going to say that a little bit faster so that you can reduce that to the 10 seconds. But in the way you did it is great. And remember also, if you notice, Michaela, and you don't feel comfortable with that long introduction because you, again, you're going to see that you need more time for the examples and for the reasons. So remember the second option. You don't have to mention the two at the beginning. You can simply say, I prefer this because of the following reasons, and don't mention the reasons. Go directly to the first reason, okay? Because of the following reasons. First, this, your example. Second, this, your example. Okay, so that's the second option. You don't have to mention. Do that just in case you feel that you use more time than the time that you need. And again, it's just a possibility. All right, but let's keep listening.
the distractions that are in my house. Um, um, I live so far of my job, and in one occasion, I lost the connection in the middle of an important meeting, and also.
Okay, good. I believe that's a very good example. Just by mentioning that, you are showing, right, how it can affect or interfere something very important, right? In one situation, you lost the connection in a very important meeting or something. Okay.
My family and my puppies um, uh, made impossible that I focus in my job. So this is why I prefer to work in the job location.
Okay, there you go. And 45. I think it's good. All right. I think you're doing a pretty good job. Again, it just, you're going to try to look for more balance, perhaps, in between the reasons that you got. But in general, I think it's great. All right. Again, my recommendation, as I can see now, try to do that short introduction until you feel more comfortable with it so that you have even more time, okay, to give the first reason one more time, plus the example, and then the second reason once again, and if you have the time, the example, and that's it, right? Because I believe that if you get to reduce those 13 seconds to even 5 or 6 seconds just by saying, I prefer this because of the following motives, and you start with explanation, I believe that is going to be even better and you're going to get better results, all right? Because even with that reduced time, you got to do it pretty well. Okay, so I think we're doing pretty good. It's just practicing more, and that's it on my side. And Michaela, I don't know if you have any questions or comments before finishing now.
No, teacher. I just need to practice.
Yes, it's practicing, and everybody, even if you are all right, a native English speaker, and I can tell you that because I work with people who were native English speakers that learned about the TOEFL, and they told me again that this is hard. It is hard because even though you can have a very good level of English, if you don't get to practice this with a timer, with a template, it's very easy to get lost. It's very easy to stop speaking and not knowing what else to say. All right. So again, to have a template to follow the time is the thing that is going to assure you to always have a good score and to always know how to continue. All right. But that's it. Let's stop then here. It means that, Michaela, once again, we're going to see each other directly on the 30th. Okay, so the following week we don't have activities. January the 30th, it's going to be the class in which we're going to continue with the TOEFL practice. And that's it for now. As always, I'm sending the survey that you can see now. Try to, I know you have a lot of activities right at work, but if you have some extra time, try to practice a little bit with the TOEFL so that it's easier when we get on Monday. Okay, thanks for being here. Have a good night and see you that Monday, Miguel.
Okay, thank you so much, teacher. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.